Hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. Today a little bit weaker, like the entire market. You can see it here on TradingView. It's all red, but really only minor price fluctuations. The Solana chart still is showing this 5-wave pattern to the upside. I still see possible further upside from here because we haven't broken the trend line. Now, I gave you this ascending trend line in previous videos. We talked about as long as this trend line is holding, price can push higher, possibly even in a price channel. If we add a parallel line here, why not? So after it broke out of this descending wedge, we see a lot of upside pressure. And not really the weakness that we see on many other crypto charts. Few people have argued that should Bitcoin now turn around to the upside, wouldn't Solana rally higher as well instead of coming down? You can't really do these correlation mental gymnastics too much because we've seen numerous examples where coins didn't move with Bitcoin. So I always encourage people not to do analysis of an altcoin based on analyzing Bitcoin, rather analyze the altcoin, because a lot of people say all the altcoins follow Bitcoin, which is of course wrong, right? If all altcoins were following Bitcoin, we wouldn't have a single altcoin that died, but thousands of altcoins have died in the crypto history. So it's complete rubbish, this idea. Please do not fall into the correlation trap. Of course, there are temporary correlations, but if all coins were following Bitcoin, then GMX wouldn't have made a new all-time high in the bear market. I think Optimism made a new all-time high in the bear market. Then we wouldn't have seen various altcoins made new bear market lows, while Bitcoin has doubled since November. It's complete. It doesn't work. All right. Of course, if Bitcoin goes up on the day, you will likely see a lot of altcoins green as well. But then when Bitcoin comes back, maybe 2%, some of them will make it 10%. So, it is, you can't analyze a chart of an altcoin based on the Bitcoin chart. It just doesn't work. It's the same thing where people say, oh, the DXY and Bitcoin are negatively correlated. No, I mean, in certain degrees, maybe, and sometimes yes, but the DXY has had a bull market, I think, since 2011, okay? Bitcoin as well. Well, if they were really negatively correlated, we wouldn't have seen a bull market in both coins. That's impossible. So please don't fall into the correlation trap and don't just take for granted what some influencers also say. Always question it, look at the data. Things are easier said and everybody believes it, but it's sort of, you fall into a trap there, okay? I really just try to help you understand that better. So from that point of view, we cannot say just because Bitcoin is moving up or down that Solana will do the same. It just doesn't work, okay? So from that point of view, we need to look at the Solana chart itself. What can we see? We can see only what's in front of us, staying in the present. Speculating about possibilities doesn't really help us. We can only look at probabilities, because anything is possible, but not everything is probable, okay? So in the very short term, we can see that Solana is still pushing higher. We haven't made a lower low. From that point of view, the uptrend is still very much intact. We haven't even cut into a previous swing high. And also the trend channel is pretty much intact. I mean, I'm not sure if it's really a valid channel, but it might become here. Well, it is certainly an ascending trend line. I don't know if it may be some kind of an ascending wedge. Maybe we can certainly keep focusing on that. These often break to the downside at some point, but it's not obvious enough for me that this really is a wedge pattern, even though it's a valid one and we have enough touch points. Maybe. Okay, so let's focus on that as well a little bit in the next few videos. They typically break to the downside as they get exhausted at some point. They are patterns of exhaustion. Now, that doesn't mean it's bearish. It just means that a pullback is due at some point. I don't think at the moment we have clear enough signals to suggest that we have already started this major pullback. First of all, it could be simply a pullback that touches the trend line. If we break below this ascending trend line, I think then we have some initial evidence that the wave 2 pullback could have started, and that we would get a better signal if we also get a break below the last swing low at $19.30. And then this correction should play out as an ABC correction. What happens if we just keep escalating? Well, that's of course possible. It might then be in a different wave count, but at the moment this is for me the most likely one that I'm watching here. If it continues to escalate and goes to whatever, $27, $28, then I cannot assume anymore it's a leading diagonal. But we haven't really seen a deeper pullback that would give us a typical pullback setup. But of course the trend is up, and I don't tell you, when you should enter or not. I just simply tell you that if we get a pullback, this is the area that it should get into. And to get a reliable 1-2 trade setup, we want to have a deeper pullback. And ideally it's holding $14.90, because below that it's going to turn bearish. But $14.90 is the general level against which the price can move higher. Yeah, and in the short term, the trend is still up, so can also push higher. Resistance is $22.40, $23.30, $24, and then very important, $26.80. Traditionally, typically when price breaks out of such a wedge pattern to the upside, and to be honest, it wasn't even a very well-defined descending wedge. I don't really want to call it a descending wedge. It's got too much free space in here. And to be really a clear descending wedge, it should have made this. Yeah. But traditionally a breakout of a wedge, the traditional target would be the beginning of the wedge. So we talk here roughly about $26. So while I think the probabilities for a pullback increase, also due to the overlapping price action, I have no evidence that a pullback has started. If it's pulling back, it should get into the region between $14.90 and $18.80. This is going to be the moment of truth if a third wave rally can start. But until I see at least a break of the trend line to the downside, I cannot confirm that the pullback has started. So that means short term, the focus needs to be on higher against the $19.30 level that I mentioned, and against the ascending trend line. As long as we're moving up here, any trend line pullback could be a small entry point if you're scalping this or so. Just be aware that in diagonals, if you have your stop too tight, you will often face being stopped out. That just often happens. Yeah, that's really everything I can tell you at the moment about Solana. So at the moment, I don't really have... So maybe one more thing. The first indication that we are indeed coming down is a 5-wave pullback. So at the moment, this move down looks like a 3-wave move. A wave down, a B wave up, and then a tiny 5-wave move in wave C. Overall, 3 waves down. So at the moment, I would still give it a good chance to push higher, okay, to attack that 2240 level again, and then it might respect the ascending trend line up there, the upper boundary line, and trail all the way up to $23.30 and $24 next. Okay, that's my update about Solana. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.